A. Accountability. Accountability yields empowerment. In the P.A.N.A.C.E.A model, accountability stands as a cornerstone for personal growth and transformation. Let's delve into strategy 4 of the model, which places a significant emphasis on humanistic psychology. This branch of psychology champions concepts like free will, self-efficacy, and self-actualization, aiming to assist individuals in maximizing their potential rather than solely focusing on dysfunction. Psychotherapeutic approaches rooted in humanistic principles, such as Gestalt therapy, client-centered therapy, and person-centered therapy, underscore the importance of accountability, self-awareness, and perception. In this segment, we're poised to challenge existing perspectives and ignite introspection. Winston Churchill once proclaimed, "The price of greatness is responsibility." If we aspire to reach our full potential, embracing the tools within this stage becomes non-negotiable. Taking ourselves seriously and recognizing our role in shaping reality marks the initial step toward personal triumph. Yet, this notion may stir unease, for it confronts us with the stark truth: we are the architects of our own existence. Our thoughts and actions sculpt the fabric of our reality, a notion that may seem simplistic yet holds profound implications. Have you ever pondered the notion that you are accountable for everything unfolding in your life? This assertion may initially provoke resistance, yet its veracity remains undeniable. Our cognitive wiring often inclines towards a negativity bias, fixating on blame rather than assuming ownership. But herein lies the crux. In moments of perceived powerlessness, wherein blame becomes our refuge, we forfeit agency and assume the role of victim. However, true empowerment stems from embracing accountability and from donning the mantle of responsibility for every facet of our existence. We'll explore this concept further, elucidating with concrete examples. Self-awareness reflection. Are we stirring the waters yet? Take a deep breath. Now, scrutinize your contributions to any conflicts that have arisen. This exercise beckons us to introspect, to discern where our actions fell short and how we might have navigated situations more adeptly. Rather than retaliating in kind, consider the unspoken sentiments underlying discord. What were your intentions? Did you strive to foster understanding or validate the other party's emotions? Acknowledging our role in shaping outcomes lays the foundation for transformative growth. Remember to acknowledge both your missteps and triumphs, a crucial yet oft-overlooked facet of self-awareness. Empowerment through accountability. As sentient beings, we possess the inherent capacity to transcend circumstances, to catalyze change even amidst adversity. Self-governance entails proactive engagement and an unwavering commitment to surmounting obstacles and mastering our destiny. Adversity, far from an arbitrary affliction, serves as a crucible for character refinement and wisdom attainment. Yet, passivity breeds stagnation, consigning us to the caprices of fate. The tendency to deflect responsibility, to shroud ourselves in victimhood, underscores a fundamental imbalance, an abdication of personal agency. Owning our power. Life teems with trials and tribulations, each bearing the potential for growth and resilience cultivation. Our hardships, far from meaningless afflictions, furnish invaluable lessons in fortitude and self-mastery. Bemoaning our fate, scapegoating external forces, epitomizes a futile endeavor, a renunciation of agency and accountability. While external circumstances may exert influence, our response to adversity remains within our purview. Mastery of self entails transcending blame, embracing accountability, and leveraging challenges as catalysts for personal evolution. Finding equilibrium. Navigating life's vicissitudes necessitates a delicate balance between personal and impersonal perspectives. Perceiving adversity through a personal lens engenders resentment and grievance, precluding transformative growth. Conversely, adopting an impersonal stance fosters resilience and insight, mitigating the sting of perceived injustice. While we cannot dictate others' actions, We retain agency over our responses, a realization imbued with liberating potential. Workbook exercises. Reflect on the following queries. How might your behavior influence others' treatment of you? Are there recurring patterns in your interactions? What beliefs underpin your experiences and interactions? In what ways can you assume greater accountability? Is there a common theme underlying your challenges? What can you do to change the pattern? Remember, accountability serves as a gateway to empowerment, an acknowledgement of our role as architects of our reality. Embrace this ethos and embark on a journey of self-discovery and growth unparalleled in its transformative potential. You have the power that lies within you to overcome your present circumstances in your life. Changing the pattern. Did any of these questions bring you back to the Karpman drama triangle? Recall which role you tend to default to in the victim-rescuer-perpetrator triangle and realize that each position is a disempowering role stemming from a lack of personal power and accountability. These roles are a result of our individual shadows and blind spots that have evolved over generations of time. First observe, then analyze your patterns, i.e., reactions and behaviors, to see what lessons are being presented and repeated in an attempt to get your attention, and begin making empowering changes by taking ownership. It is the discomfort and conflict that it brings to our lives that may serve as a motivation to make the necessary changes. If we desire change, we must be willing to change. Otherwise, we limit solution-oriented thinking that will be useful throughout our lives to carry us through other challenging times. If we merely hope that someone will rescue us from all the wrongs in our lives, we stay in a victim position and will depend endlessly on others to bail us out without employing our skills and leaning on our own wisdom and personal empowerment. On the flip side, if we encounter people who are in need, we might desire to help them. Yet, those who are in need are not always those who are willing to make proper changes and adjustments, such as personal improvements. Be watchful of enrolling in the rescuer role. When we attempt to help those who do not wish to change the often self-imposed challenges in their lives, our efforts are in vain, and they are not ready for help. At other times, they may just be unaware of what's causing the hardships in their life and how to correct it, but are still willing to learn. However, their contribution may not be equal to yours, but their efforts and sacrifice must match your own to prevent us from engaging in enabling behaviors due to our codependent nature. Look for tendencies to blame and accuse others for wrongdoings. This is an ill attempt of a persecutor to place the problem outside of ourselves in hopes of making it someone else's fault because we failed to recognize our part as a result of our blind spots. Wisdom requires us to be aware of our weaknesses. We will never be given greater challenges than we can bear. That means you have the power that lies within you to overcome your present circumstances in your life and that your weaknesses are no greater than your strengths. This is very empowering. If you have not yet been able to change the negative circumstances in your life, be patient and tell yourself that you are now acquiring the knowledge and skill to overcome these undesirable life lessons, or that you are experiencing a deeper level of growth as a result of it. Sometimes you need to be the one to initiate change by being willing to accept help. Be ready and willing when it comes. Do not foolishly allow pride to interfere. Wisdom requires us to be aware of our weaknesses. Do not take for granted the opportunity to learn about yourself and see where there is a need for improvement, for experience is a great teacher. Take all feedback that comes to you as a positive indicator to gauge what changes you need to make. These changes will only improve your life. Let everything that comes to you be for your good and your benefit. Surrender to the lesson. Yes, even the persistent internal messenger that you keep trying to avoid, but continues to show up in your life in various ways to deliver a message, is exhibiting a mirror to you. So, listen to the message. This keeps showing up for you because these are your lessons, not the messengers. Indeed, correction and change may be difficult to endure, yet we ought to delight in its opportunity because we are worth the time and the effort. Using a combination of both consciously directed effort from the prefrontal cortex and emotion from the limbic system, we can make deliberate changes in our lives. In a pamphlet entitled, "The Inspired Pamphlet of Youth," it reads, "We have freedom of choice that carries with it moral responsibilities for our actions. While we are free to choose for ourselves, we are not free to choose the consequences of our actions." This message illustrates how the basic laws of physics of cause and effect interact in our lives due to the consequences of the choices we make, which are in our control. Take charge. Embrace accountability for empowerment. Taking accountability for everything in our lives is akin to being the captain of our ship, steering our destiny with every thought, action, and emotion we emit. It's not about blaming ourselves, but rather about reclaiming our power through self-awareness and intentional action. Just as flipping a light switch turns on a light, our choices set off a ripple effect in our lives and beyond, governed by the fundamental laws of cause and effect. Inner exploration. Shifting from a victim mindset to one of empowerment is the pivotal first step towards mastering our emotions and achieving emotional freedom. Reflect on whether feelings of separation, shame, or inadequacy are surfacing in your interactions or challenges. These emotions often arise when we project our inner turmoil onto others, seeking temporary relief from our pain. Recognizing these patterns allows us to break free from unhealthy coping mechanisms and cultivate self-acceptance. Mindful reflection. When faced with triggers or negative emotions, practice mindful awareness by simply acknowledging and naming the emotion. Then, delve deeper into the underlying patterns and motivations behind your reactions. Consider the payoff and cost of your behavior and explore any repressed needs or emotions longing to be expressed. These mindful exercises foster self-awareness and pave the way for healthier coping strategies and choices anchored in accountability and personal empowerment. Escaping and anesthetizing the pain. These feelings appear when we blame or project judgment onto others and are the same feelings of hurt, separation, powerlessness, shame, or feelings of inadequacy from our own act of separation by not connecting to our internal empowerment. This is the premise behind projection behaviors. It's the internal mirror we are exhibiting from poor coping skills by taking the pain away from ourselves and expressing it outwardly. This is one method in which we developed unhealthy mechanisms of anesthetizing or escaping to numb our internal pain. This requires high self-awareness and takes practice to see ourselves through the behaviors of others. Often the relationship mirror is the areas in ourself where we hope to grow and find self-acceptance. We must acknowledge that what we desire is freedom from the issue rather than focusing on the issue that's being mirrored to us in our relationships, and be cognizant of it or vocalize it. When we honor our vocal expression or inner voice, it helps us to come to terms with the truth and free the trapped inner emotions. Mindful exercises. When you have an event that activates a trigger or negative emotional reaction, simply notice it and name it to retrain the prefrontal cortex, PFC, at the time of the event, and become conscious of new and adaptive coping strategies. Questions to consider. 1. Am I feeling separated, disconnected, shameful, or inadequate in this presenting problem or with this person? 2. More specifically, am I feeling hurt? 3. Think of a name to identify a current pattern or emotional reaction you would like to change. 4. Is what I'm doing to trigger this emotional reaction efficient or costly? 5. What is the payoff for behaving this way? Example: the pride of wanting to be right, receiving the acceptance, approval, acknowledgement, recognition, or validation of others, etc. 6. What is the cost versus the payoff? 7. Does it make me feel good about myself or bad about myself? 8. What impact does it have on me or others? 9. What need or emotion feels repressed that needs to be vocalized or expressed? Mindful practices help us to create awareness moving forward into healthier behaviors, coping responses, and choices. Experiment with these practices above when you experience distress. This practice anchors in accountability from the wise mind to make long-term changes toward personal empowerment.